everybody. Welcome to Painting 3. This is our fluid painting silhouette overlay. And with this one, I mean, you're painting 3. So you've done this as a painting 1 student where you just kind of began to understand it as a beginning. As a year 2 student, you worked with more experimenting, larger size. And this is just a continuation of considering this as more of the first step, of a larger project, because this will kind of become your background. And there's different ways that you can kind of play around with this. And once we get going on it, again, I think it's gonna be a pretty popular way of doing it. I'm gonna kind of zoom in on here, scoot over just a little bit so you can see this. Get your sheet out, kind of follow along with this. You can pause it, as we talk about this, so it'll make more sense too. So these are four different techniques, and I'm sure there are more. Like I never got into putting quotes on, and I'm sure there are other ones out there, but these are the four main ones that I liked, that I felt worked pretty good. So first off, we have this one right here. It says describe the technique above, and this is definitely a reflection. In terms of coming up with a fluid painting, you can kind of see that it is very much reflection, along here, and then somehow they were able to kind of pull up in this top corner, something a little bit different. I'm not 100% sure how they did that. I know how I would do it, but I want you to see if you could come up with your own way of doing it as well, kind of thing. So that is one that you can kind of play around with. The thing that I would pay attention on this, is that it does have that hard line, along there for your horizon line, and I believe that has to stay straight, for you come up with this concept. Trying to give you a hint, of doing something and then creating, a reflection. Okay. Next one. This one's really fun. And again, describe the technique above, and do the best job you can with it. But I've seen a number of people do something like this, not really so much as a fluid painting, but but obviously you can, kind of thing where you would, you know, pour some paints down and just, you have your whole background colored, ahead of time in terms of like a flat color, maybe like a mermaid blue or something like that, on the back there, or like a red. You can do a transition of colors, and then create this effect, that you're almost blowing, or turning, or manipulating with some kind of a tool, to create this shape. And I'm willing to bet, like when they turn this into a ballerina or a dancer, that yellow didn't stop there. As an artist, you have the ability to change shapes. Okay, so which means that might have been kind of like a mess there, and then they went in, and came up with that hard line, so it'd be the top of her dress, and then you come up with the next steps. Okay. Next one, describe the next technique. A little bit of similar to the first one, that's on there, but it's still kind of going in and, and kind of pulling, the stuff that's off along there. I believe what they're doing right now is they're trying to get more of those cells. So they probably use some kind of an oil. But hopefully you've kind of learned a couple techniques as a year 2 student, to be able to kind of duplicate that. And then going in there with paint markers. Again, stay away from Sharpies so we can spray it, and go from there. Okay. Our last one is kind of the typical one, because it doesn't take a lot of thought. You know, when you do it, you just come up with a fun background and you decide you want to have a safari look, or you want to have a sea look, or you want to have a space look, kind of thing to it. So it's definitely something that I would say is not as complicated, which means it's not gonna shock and awe, people nearly as much, kind of thing like that. And as an artist, you want to try to shock and awe when people are walking down the hallway. You want them to stop and look at your piece and say, wow, that's really cool. Okay. So those are four different ways you can kind of play around with it. I think the middle two are definitely a little more on the same edge. And by the time you watch this video, I might even have changed that to more of the quote side of things. So down below, says, how could you take this technique and make it your own idea and keep it original? Which means I don't want you to copy this one. Okay, I don't mind you doing like this back one here, and all of a sudden you feel like you have this amazing, scene, that somehow you came up with that might have like a planet shape, and then like, some sort of a galaxy scene to it, and then you all of a sudden throw, you know, um, the Millennium Falcon, coming in, with that. Okay, as long as somebody didn't do the entire thing, is keeping it more original. Okay, and at the same time, if you have a friend that could just say, "It's like I really want somebody to do, maybe this shape." Have a friend do it, okay, and then we could still project it, and then it's still your 100% original idea. Okay, so then that means that when a competition comes up, you could enter that piece because it's your idea. Okay, it was your photograph, it was your fluid painting. Nobody, it's not one like it in the whole world. And when somebody asks you how'd you do it, you can explain to them the process, and you can, and then they'll know it's like you didn't copy this. You did something pretty neat. Okay, so really, really work on that originality aspect of it. A lot of times it comes with taking photographs. Other things is like, you've drawn 100 horses, so you know how to draw a horse, or again, you just again take a photograph and you kind of work off of that. But at some point, especially as a year three student, you should start making that decision more often. Do I copy or do I keep it original? Okay, and making my own ideas. Okay, create it yourself, do all that good stuff. Um, other than that, give me. Other than that, just let me know if you have any questions, and good luck on the assignment. Thanks.